Hey y'all, Will here, otherwise Zelray, and today in Once Human we're going to be talking about Nightmare Prime Wars, how to reduce the lag in two separate ways that really make the fight easier, and on top of that some tips to make sure that you're not wasting materials, getting successes, and just having a better time. I have found that the Nightmare Prime Wars are having a lot of trouble server-wise, and after some testing we found some ways to fix that. Hopefully they'll help you, so let's get started. In interjection, I am not saying this lag is okay. Absolutely the opposite. I think it's absurd that we have to deal with a giant boss before we even get into the premiere event of the PvE scenario that we have at the launch. And there are 3 ways to fix this that the devs can implore slightly to make it really fix a lot of the issues, especially in the Nightmare Prime Wars. But these go with all Prime Wars. I think it's mainly because that the Nightmares have so much going on that having extra stuff happening makes it that much harder. So number 1 out of 3 lag fixes is do not start another Prime War while someone's doing their Prime War. The devs can actually fix this by just not allowing pros, hards, and easies to be started if there's a Nightmare Prime War going on. Does that kind of suck for everyone who doesn't have their passes? Yes, but does it make the game actually playable? Yes, it does. It helps a good amount. Maybe that's 15 to 20% of the lag you'll see in the game is someone else is doing another Prime War, especially if 2 Nightmare Prime Wars are going at the same time. It is a terrible mess. You don't want to see that. Number 2. Make sure everyone walks, drives, and gets to the instance before it starts. The amount of lag that is caused by people just teleporting in to the Prime War is immense. If I said that 15 to 20% of it was someone else doing another Prime War, I'd say 75% of it is just having people teleport into the instance and the game trying to place them with all their loading screens and everything else going on. That is a huge mess. So what we've been doing in our PvE server 8, and it's been working gloriously, we really pulled it together last night to make sure that it worked, is dog pile in before it starts. I want to see 45, 50, 60 people all in the Prime War Nightmare instance before it starts. No one gets to teleport in. You come in early, you get your spot, and there's even more spots available if you start it like that. You can have up to 60, 70 people in there. I don't know what the limit is, but you can have more than 40 if they were in the instance before it starts. It helps more people in the server, and the only thing they have to do is not be lazy and teleport in, or hope that they can. You get there early, you get your spot, you get a much easier win, and everyone's happy. That's the biggest thing that you can do, honestly, to deal with the lag in Nightmare Prime Wars. The third issue that is not huge, maybe 5-10% of the lag at most, depending on maybe your PC specs. I'm not really sure what causes this, but the more people in your direct vicinity causes lag as well. I think between 4 and 6 people are usually okay, but if you have 10 or 20 people all in one area, usually it happens right around the resonator where everyone's trying to defend. It causes issues. I feel also when people are at the resonator, it just causes more damage to be thrown at the defensible area, and it causes failures easily. So I try to actually tell people to move away from the resonator and fire inward at the leads. Don't go up to the resonator to fight if you can help it. I know that somewhat sucks for shotgun users and stuff like that, but because of the difficulty that we have just being able to play this game mode, and it is a fun game mode when you can, it just makes it so that this is an easier way to deal with it. So going over those again, do not start Prime Wars during another Prime War. Do not teleport into Prime Wars, and the only way to safely do this is tell the server what you're doing and have everyone dogpile into your Prime War before it starts, so you can absolutely make sure no one is able to teleport in. And 3, keep your 6 foot of safety, as COVID tried to teach us, and spread out a little bit. Those 3 things help so much. You can have an almost no lag Prime War without any difficulty, and it makes it so that you just have to play the game. And this game mode is super fun and pretty okay to do as long as you know what steps you are needing to do, which we'll cover here in a second. And it makes it fun. Even if you have a failure, it's not like you wasted 90 missiles just trying to shoot them out into the world. That's really what it is. So those are the tips for the lag. Hopefully that solves a lot of the issues for you guys. And I know that some servers aren't as big to be able to do that, but hopefully you can get as many people possibly in early so you can avoid as many teleports in as possible as well. We're seeing clears of 5 to 10 minutes on these Prime Wars in Nightmare, when beforehand we'd be lucky to clear it or do it in 20 or 25 minutes. It makes a huge difference and it helps out a lot. So with that being said, let's get into the tips. And number one on tips is blocking the Prime War boss's route. Do not use fences. Whatever you do, just stop using fences. If you're used to using fences, stop doing that. Don't even use wood if you can help it. Stone or marble, depending on if you have the stone mimetic that makes your stone stronger than your reinforced marble foundations, is a great way to go. That's what I'm doing here. But being able to put something down in front of the boss if it has escaped your general routing where it has slipped through the gaps per se, putting something down in front of it makes it take a second to stop and attack it, which gives you more time to defend. With this, if you can, when you're putting down your foundations, if it's not in the middle of the fight and you have the time, put down half walls and a floor on top of those half walls to be able to have the boss kind of double focus one target. They'll take down the walls first, and then after that they'll take down the foundation. That's the typical behavior that I've seen, and it seems to be a pretty effective strategy. As you can see, what I'm doing here is I'm making some extra walls just in case the next boss wants to cruise on down and do this. So that's a big thing that can help you before anything else. If a Prime War boss gets to your resonator, especially if it's the Shadow Hound, you end up just taking so much damage it might result in failure unless you have someone building consistently, constantly, and not dying at the same time. Another tip is that we had in this PvE season the availability to buy the Last Valor. And the Last Valor, honestly, on Manabus Nightmare Prime Wars is a beast. If you weight it towards hitting weak spots and you have the beret, you have 4 shrapnel all hitting weak spots, and it does an absurd amount of damage. There's a challenge to do in your season goals that you need to do 2 million damage to the Manabus in Nightmare Prime Wars. I got that done on my first attempt, just to put that into like how much damage you can do to Manabus with the Last Valor. Is it the best gun to use in all situations? No, but for Manabus itself, it does an absurd amount of damage. On to the next thing with Manabus is that the arms, you need to attack with red plasma missiles, and you need someone able to make red plasma missiles to even really stand a good chance against the Prime War. They give you on every mini boss a world or a server drop of 3 red plasmas to help you out, but you need 12 to take down one arm. That means you need to take down roughly 12 bosses and not miss a single shot with your red plasmas, which is almost impossible. There are points where the arms are going to stop and you can hit them easily, but depending on your distance away from the arms, it's almost impossible. And what you're going to see right here is me trying to shoot my red plasmas, and this is the last event that we're doing for the night, so I have a few extras. So I'm kind of spamming them because I know that they're going to be deleted because they have a 24-hour timer from the point of being taken out of your synthesis bench to actually, disappear. So red plasma missiles also disappear after 24 hours if you craft them and you have them in your inventory. So if you know you're not going to be on for a day or two, give them to someone else randomly in your server, or just have some fun with them because you have some extra ammunition. Whatever you find is the way you want to go about it, go right ahead. You're going to see right here, and I know this is coming up because I was yelling about something in Discord, and I was just shooting these things, trying to hit this thing because I was talking about how difficult it is to shoot the arms with the red plasma because these things wiggle around so much. I'm not really sure the idea behind having these things move and articulate so much when you need to use such a precious resource to try to take them down, but it's difficult. So, ignore my blatant waste of material for me showing what the idea is, but If you wait for this thing to stop moving or really put a missile near the arms, you can do a lot more damage effectively and not waste as many missiles doing so. On top of that, making sure that in general that your whole team is working together. If you have everyone focusing on the Prime War boss's arms, you're going to forget about attacking the elites that are constantly just swarming your base. You're going to be forgetting about the Ravenous Hunter, the Shadowhound, or the Secret Servitor that will be attacking your base, and that can lead to failure very quickly as well. I know right when we first started to orient ourselves into doing these Nightmare Prime Wars, you'd focus on a Manibus arm, and then you lose because the base was taking too much damage. You need to be kind of attacking the arm when you can, and then when you have a free moment, especially like if you're reloading and it takes a little bit to reload, look around when you think that there is danger nearby. This allows you to get a little bit more cautious with what's going on and understand when there might be issues arising. In this one, we have so many people here. I think in this particular Prime War, we had 56, 58 people in it. So we had a lot of participants. So I knew that my buddies were actually fighting off the elites while I was dealing damage. But they made a call where they said, hey, there's more things than I'd like to see. So I would start tapping down one or two of those, go back to the arm, tap down a couple more, go back to the arm. Because really the arm isn't the danger of these, it's everything else, and you're taking down the arms in your spare time typically. But beyond that, that's really what Prime Wars and Nightmare Mode are about. Make sure that you work with your server, make sure that you avoid the lag, and make sure you have people designated to building, to taking down the mini bosses, taking down the elites, and only one or two people really shooting your red plasmas, because you don't really need more than that. And in a nutshell, that's all you got to do. You're going to net all your star chrome you need. You're going to be able to get your server goals accomplished, so everyone in your server gets the max amount of star chrome from the 100% completion of defeating, 1,000 events or Prime Wars, and you're good to go. So hopefully the video helped you. Hopefully you got something out of this, and hopefully we'll catch you on another video. But for now, later.